Today, we have the absolute pleasure of sitting down and talking to Valerie Vaca, the widow of Sergeant Dominic Vaca, who was killed in the line of duty May 31st, 2021. And, for full transparency, you have become one of my absolute best friends. So it's going to be interesting talking to you because you and I have had so many conversations privately, but the reason that you're here is just because your voice is incredible. There's so many things that you've taught me and here at SEBA taught us how to do better. So I just, you're here because I want you to share that voice and that advocacy with others. And I want them to hear what you have to say. So I'm very grateful for you being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It means a lot to be here.
When we think about the surviving families, I think we think a lot about the fallen officers, right? And
Correct.
We think about their EOW, or we think about what was lost in terms of the profession. Of course, we think about the families and what they mean, but I think or what they need, and we try to be there for them. But it's only through getting to know you, really, really getting to know you, where I feel like you've been able to be honest about what you need beyond just the EOW dates or the peace officer memorial things, what you need as a woman, as a family, as what your daughters need.
I think that everyone thinks that we need you guys in the very beginning, and which is great, which we do, because obviously we're there, but we're not there. I can't even tell you, I can't have memories of the beginning, just bits and pieces, but it's the aftermath. It's months later, it's years later that we need our support for our families. And I say ours because it's not just me and my kids for losing my husband, but also for all of our fallen. And sorry, it's just...
You never have to be sorry. I hope you know that.
A lot of people don't fully understand that the loss is beyond my husband. Yeah. It's not just him, it's us, and we have to live every day without him. And I knew that going into our relationship, into our marriage, and, having kids. But a lot of people think that it's his name, right? But they don't remember the families. And this is our new normal, which is not what we're looking for. And this is our reality. I would say we're hitting on the 4th year. And I would say this year is actually now a reality. Not only for me, but also for my kids. Michaela's getting a lot older. My oldest, Angela, she's a lot older and she's understanding a lot more. And it hits us differently. So it's not just being there for us in the beginning. We need the support and love and just keeping their memory alive through us and through everybody that knew them or did not even know them but worked with them.
I've told you this before. I didn't really know Dom. I was not close to him. And I met you through the role that I have here at SEBA and what we, offer to you and try to offer to you. And so it's been interesting because I'm so connected to you and understanding this loss, but I didn't really know him. But I think I take that, what you're saying, whether you knew him or not, it's so impactful for me to understand it, whether personally I knew him or was close to him or had even worked with him or not, but just to understand the profession. Mm-hmm. And that is the most tangible thing you can see, the most tragic, tangible effect of being in this profession, right? Is right. Losing someone. Yep. And so regardless of whether I knew Dom personally or whether the trainees at the academy know him personally or whether the guys out on patrol or the girls out on patrol knew him personally, I now, through knowing you, feel really strongly about the fact that people still need to know.
Yeah.
Know who he was, know who you are. And maybe if it's not a personal knowing, but an understanding of what this leaves behind and how we can help.
Yeah.
So I want to focus a little bit on the positives before we get into the things we can do better, because I know there's always things we can do better.
Yeah.
one of the positives you had talked about the girls getting older. So
Yeah.
you have 2 girls,
Yep.
Angie and Michaela.
Yep.
And Michaela was a baby, an infant when Dom was killed. 4 months.
4.5 months.
4.5 months. And
Be
Angie
exact.
Angie was 11.
She was 11.
And so I know this year was, I don't want to say hard because all the years are hard and they're going to continue being hard. But, you know, Michaela went to preschool. Angie went to high school. Michaela's old enough to start asking questions. Angie's a teenager. I know there was one event for like the first day of school that really brightened your day. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, it was Angela's first day of high school. That was one of the days. I had a friend of mine, and she kind of did her magic and got in contact with some of the deputies in the department, and they kind of met Angie at home with like balloons and a sign, just letting her, reminding her that they're there for her. And her dad might not be there physically, but there's uniforms there. And that meant a lot to her. And then Michaela starting her first ever day of school, preschool. That was really special because that was a big milestone for her. And just to know that some deputies took time out of their busy day. Some of them even worked all night, and they made sure to be there. And they had everything lined up at school. And it was so special. I just seen her little face light up, like, oh my God, all this for me, And it was like, as like being in my position, being mom, it's like just seeing my kids happy makes me happy. It brings joy to me, which is normally hard. So that day was extremely special for all of us.
And I know like Michaela's so little, so when she sees a uniform, she automatically...
She's like, Daddy. She's like, they're Daddy's friends. And I'm like, yeah, they're Daddy's friends. So right off the bat, any uniform that she sees, it's like Daddy. So it's always reminding her that he's still here.
It's hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that like she doesn't have any conscious memories.
She only has the memories that we have of him and we share with her. And the uniform is one memory that has stuck with her, from as small as she was at 4.5 months. Now she's 4, and it's like anytime she'll see a cop car driving by, and she's like, oh, there's the popo. That's what Daddy was. And I'm like, yeah, like that's Daddy, So the uniform is like a big thing for my girls.
One of the things, of course, I was thinking about, okay, what am I going to talk to Val about? Because we've talked about how like not awkward this is, but you and I talk all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, now I'm interviewing her for my podcast.
Now you're putting me on the spot and making me answer
ask
these questions so everybody can hear what I have to say.
Yes, because
they care.
They care. I've just learned so much from you, and I'm probably not even doing it justice because here I am trying to like stumble through these like interview questions when I'm sitting across the table from my best friend. But, it's just like, and then I think about these things, right? Because we're friends and because I see what you go through and I see what the girls go through. And I think about this like the first day of preschool. I think about it in terms of being a leader of an organization, right? I don't work for the department. I'm not a leader on the department, but we're all in this collectively, right? Like SEBA does not see this any differently than the department. Like we feel very strongly it's all of us here for you, right? Yeah. But I feel like, okay, as a leader of an organization, how do I put in methodologies to make sure that we don't miss things like that, right? Because we have on our calendars like the EOW date, right? Or we might know even birthdays to a certain extent, right? Yeah. But like first days of school and things like that takes a real relationship, like a constant communication to know.
100%. And I think that's where we fall short. And I'm just going to be straight up and honest about that. It took someone that wasn't from the department to set those days up for my girls. And nothing against the department or anything. Yeah. They have busy lives. They work. Like, it's nonstop. I understand that. But it's not that hard to, like, reach out every now and then Because if you had that communication and you had that relationship that you should have with our fallen officers' families, the surviving families, whether it's the spouse, the parents, the children, man, even the grandkids at this point, because obviously we have different years of our fallen officers.
Yeah.
You know, taking that time to continue to reach out and to ask these questions. Why should I have to come and ask, like, hey, can you be there for Michaela's first day or Angie's first day of high school? You know, if that relationship was there, those special dates would already be known. Because like, oh, you know, I know Michaela, she's 3 years old. She's going to be starting preschool. Like, what do you need? What can we do for you? What can we do for your girls? What can we do to honor Dominic since he's not here? You know, like having that. And it's like, sometimes I get it. Like, it doesn't happen, but it needs to, because it makes my girls feel special, feel loved, and it makes them feel that their dad is still somewhat here when they see a uniform. Yeah. The end of watch. Yeah. Remember, please never forget.
Yeah.
Never forget the sacrifices that they made, but never forget the milestones that their children, their spouses, their grandkids, you know, you got to be present, because it's not just, you know, it happened and that's it. This is our new life.
Yeah.
Without them.
When you said that, like, end of watch, just that word end, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, we see that as the end, but this is
our beginning.
Yeah.
It was their end of their lifetime, right? And this is our beginning of our new life until our life comes to an end. But it doesn't mean that generation and generation that we're supposed to forget. My girls are going to have kids. I'm going to be a grandma. He's going to be a grandpa. I don't want my grandkids to forget. I want them to know that there is unity. There is family behind the blue line. Yeah. They need that. I need that, because I feel alone a lot, you know, and it's like, it's nice to have the support. It's nice to feel that people remember.
Yes, obviously very important, but it goes even beyond just remembering the person. It's just remembering that there's families that in perpetuity have paid this ultimate sacrifice. I mean, yes, Dom paid the ultimate sacrifice 100%. With his life, but you're still paying it.
Yep.
Because you're here.
Yeah.
Angie is going to pay it, you know, when she gets married or when she has kids, right? And Michaela too. It's heavy. And this is when, you know, it's like, it's so hard, because you just look and you're like, oh my God, how can I help, right? And I think sometimes we think like, that's so much. Like, there's no magic wand I can wave to make it better. And sometimes maybe we just retreat and say like, okay, I don't know what to do, right? Yeah. It's like a little bit overwhelming, but it's not. It doesn't have to be if we all work at it collectively.
Not at all. And it's so simple. A simple phone call, man, a simple card to like wish the girls a happy birthday or a Merry Christmas. Yeah. Like, that's not hard. It takes a couple minutes.
And like, sometimes I think about it too, because I've thought about, you know how much I've thought about this, right? And we've even talked about you coming on and advocating and being a liaison in terms of maybe what we can do better at SEBA. But I was even thinking, okay, not that we want to, but let's say we miss a first day of school. But even if it's just a, hey, how are you doing on a random day, right? Like just touching base.
Yeah.
Or checking in.
How are the girls doing? How are they doing in school? How, you know, the simple questions. It's the little things that mean something, that matter. The reason being is because it reminds us that you are remembering us.
Yeah.
You're taking the time out of your busy day, because we know everybody's busy. But just even a 2-minute phone call, man, even a 60-minute phone call, like, you know, it's just taking the time. It's having that sense of feeling loved, remembered, appreciated, for us still being here and having to live this through it every single day. It doesn't get easier. You just learn how to you wake up and you got to do it all over again.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, you have your good days. The bad days are there too. But just having that, just knowing, I should say, that people care.
Yeah.
It means the world to us.
And I think about this because you're very close with your family. You have a very strong family support system. You're an amazing friend and you have amazing friends. And now you have all this new support, or like these new groups with the groups you belong to, with the other widows, and the camps that you get to go to. And I think about all of that. And I'm, of course, as your friend, grateful for that, for you and for anybody else who's had to live with. And yet it doesn't escape the responsibility for the profession to do it and the people in the profession. Because the way I see it is like Dom gave his life for the profession.
And the community.
Mm-hmm. He was wearing the uniform when he was killed. Yeah. Right? And so the people...
He was protecting families at the time he was killed. He was their protector. So that's where the whole sacrifice comes in. He sacrificed his life. Not only for his team, but for the families that were there that he needed to.
Yeah, in that community, on the day he was killed, there was somebody running from the cops with a gun. And
they didn't even know he had a gun.
I know.
Until it happened. But but it was still his number one priority was making sure his community was safe. And he did pay the ultimate sacrifice.
And you're right. And his team. Because Dominic was a sergeant.
He was a sergeant, and he made sure that he was the first. He was out first. And that's how my husband was. And I love him for that. When they say that laying your life down for a friend, my husband did exactly that day. And I respect him for it. I also am angry because if he was selfish, he might have been here still. But he saved a lot of lives, I feel, that night. Well, I should say that day, not night.
I think that's the other thing, too, is like the variety of emotions, right? Of course, there's grief, but like grief takes on very different forms, and like it's just unfair. There's injustice. It's an injustice, 1,000%.
Absolutely.
Right? And like reconciling that injustice with everything. Yeah. The injustice of that day, the injustice of the act, the injustice of your new life without him. And just having to be a single parent. I know, we laugh because
I yell at him all the time. Like, you really? Thanks. Thanks for leaving me here to do all of the above.
And looking at Michaela like, that's all you.
Michaela is all her dad. Yes, she's feisty like me too. I'm not going to lie.
You don't say.
I know. It's hard to believe, but it's true. Her little attitude, it comes from me as well. But her stubbornness, but she has her daddy's heart. She loves, both my girls do actually.
Yeah.
They both do. They have a heart of gold. They will put everybody first. Everybody. Even when they're hurting, they care about other people first. And that was their dad. Yeah. And I am so grateful for that. I see my husband in them every single day. And I love it. People are like, isn't that hard? No, it's not, because they have a piece of him, and he's living through all of us. And it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts, but it's beautiful.
You have strong girls. You have strong girls.
Extremely strong girls.
Which is a good thing. But
not
when you're
now.
the mom,
when you are the mom and the dad and the maid and the accountant and the gardener and all the above, that is not a good thing, But it is going to be an amazing thing when they get older.
Yeah.
And they're going to exceed, and they're going to be great in life. And I believe that.
Yeah. The first thing that ever struck me about Angie was prior to me meeting her. It was when she spoke on the end of watch radio call, right?
My dad was a deputy sheriff for 17 years, and he protected people he didn't even know, just like he protected me, my baby sister, mom, and all our family. He taught me to be brave, kind, and always take care of my family. On May 31st, my dad showed up to work, a job he loved. He was brave, kind, and took care of his partners. Dad, I'll remember the lessons you taught me and share them with my sister. I love you forever and will miss you every day.
Of course, chills immediately,
Yeah.
tears immediately, just because not knowing you, her, just knowing that little girl, right?
Yep.
And not having her dad and how strong she was in that moment. But then now meeting her, like the things that make me absolutely light up when I think of Angie is like, well, of course, her heart, you know, her skill in terms of her painting
Yeah.
and like how talented she is and how sweet she is. But my favorite thing is when she talks about her dad.
Oh, yeah. She wants to be just like him.
Yeah.
She will, I'm like, Mia, seriously, like, why are you trying to mimic daddy right now? And it just makes me laugh because she tries so hard because he was always fun. His sense of humor was just ridiculous. Like, I would be like, seriously, babe, for real? Like, okay. But Angie loves it. And
Yeah.
she's just like, a free spirit. He would go and just start dancing. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? And then like, I'll be in the kitchen now, like cooking dinner. Next minute, Angie's like, Mom. And she just starts doing this dance, the same dance that her dad did. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong? But like,
She's like, nothing.
I'm just dancing, Mom. Just dancing, you know? And I'm just like, okay, you do you.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's been like, you know, I feel so lucky, right? And I, like the minute I said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, what an asshole, right? Oh, I'm lucky that you know what I mean though,
Yes.
right? Like I feel lucky that I've gotten to
Oh,
be
you're
so
lucky to be
close.
my friend for sure.
Oh, I know I am. I
'cause,
know.
I don't just let anybody be my friend. It takes me a
Okay,
while.
I'm lucky. I'll just
You're
own
lucky.
it. I'll own it, all right? I definitely trade the way we met any day of the week. But yes, I am very lucky to be your friend. And I'm very lucky to have the inside view of what it is. And I'll even go a step further. I think I'm lucky to be in a position where I think I can affect change in terms of what it is that you need. And that's not just an I statement. Like that's everybody here at SEBA. We know that as we've gotten closer to you, we collectively as our family gotten closer to you and talked to you and worked with you. And I say work because you work for us. And what I mean is like with the Honor Our Fallen 5K, right?
Yes.
I'm going to move to maybe like the things we've done tangibly, like to take this feeling that you have and turn it into something positive or something tangible. So we have our 5K.
Yes.
And it started with Lynette.
Yes, for Jeremiah's 10 year.
Yeah, because she wanted something that was like well, you and I know there's nothing wrong with getting in a bar and having some drinks and you know,
sure.
talking about stuff. So we're not like shaming that at all. But, you know, to Lynette's credit, it was like, this is how it's been in years past, but I want something that my kids can be involved in, something that's healthy. And so that was her thing. Like, and Caden loves running. So the 5K was born.
Yes.
And then you were on board from the beginning, just super dedicated. You did all the, you know, you're on the committee, the t-shirt designs, like all that stuff. And I've kept you ever since working.
Why wouldn't you?
Of course. So then it morphed, right? Like we felt that sense of, the first year, we felt that sense of community.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can say it from my viewpoint, but how did you feel, you know, just that first year that we did it? Like, what did it mean for you? Because now you've made sure it carries on.
Just being there with Lynette and the kids and seeing how much it meant to them was like bringing our department together to remind everybody of the sacrifice that was made, right? And it meant something to Caden because he loves to run.
Yeah.
And it was like he loves it and he loves his dad. And it was like, it made me feel like, oh my God, like I have to be a part of this. Like I want them to know they are loved so much and that we're not going to forget. So that right there was like me. I wasn't going to just sit back and be like, oh, they got it figured out. It was like, nope. Let's get this handled. We need to get people involved. Like we need to let them know that we are all here for them, that we love and we support them, and we're gonna remember. We will not forget.
And you were my enforcer. You were the enforcer. You call me. How many people do we have registered? Oh, 27.
Oh yeah.
Oh
no.
yeah. Stand by.
No. Not happening. And I get it. It was the first time, but we all have to do better. Like it takes a voice to spread the word of anything. Word by mouth is huge. It's the best advertisement you can say, right?
Yeah.
Well, why aren't we doing that for our fallen? Why aren't we doing that for our surviving families?
Yeah.
It's meaningful.
I know. I've taken that question to heart because there's the personal side to it, right?
Yeah.
And I love being out there with you and Lynette and Lila and, the girls, our
Yep.
girls. But then there's the professional side of me that's like, okay, I've got to put on this event and like, how do we market it? How do we get people involved? And those things are not opposed to each other, right? But it was always you telling me like, this isn't just a 5K, right? This isn't just a fundraiser. Like maybe reframing it so people understand, we've tried to make it affordable. We've tried to keep it concise, not that people shouldn't or can't spend all day out
Yeah.
there, but hey, from 8 to 10 o'clock, come out, run the loop, just come together
Yeah.
one time a year. And this one's for all of our fallen. I know
Yes.
there's other things like in Dominic's name, like the tournament, but this one you were adamant.
This is important because everybody thinks that because I'm the surviving spouse, right, that I only care about my husband. This opened my eyes to something bigger. It ain't just about me.
Yeah.
There are so many of our surviving families that probably feel alone. And we don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. So when I say we, I'm saying we all need to get it together because I know how it feels and I don't want them to feel like that. So to me, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do everything I need to do to make sure that this gets done, that they're going to know we're going to remember.
Yeah.
We're not going to forget. I don't care how many years out they are. You are not forgotten. Lobo's hitting 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm not like, we can't forget because you know what? The families will never forget because every day is a reminder that they're not here. Every day. It's not once a year on their end of watch. No, every day is a reminder.
Yep.
Every milestone is a reminder. Everything.
And I know, like, I think you said the 20 years, right? And it's Lobo and Garapi that are 20
Garapi,
years
yep.
this year. Last year was Karen Ives. And that's when I got to know her better was because we honored Ron.
Mm-hmm.
And, she said something that will never leave me either. Like, she's like, I know, and you know how sweet she is, but she's like, I know it's been a long time. And yeah, it's 20 years is a long time, but there's something new every day, right? And she took me into the room that she had for him and all of his awards that she had and all of the things that even just then she said, I finally cleaned out this closet, or there's things that I feel like I need to, maybe I'm ready to part with, 20 years.
And it's hard.
It doesn't just, I mean, I know it sounds like obvious that of course it doesn't just go away, but it's always, now it's like watching you go through it and talking to Karen and talking to Jennifer, when I do, it's like, it's never better. It's just different.
It's just different. You are absolutely right. It doesn't get better. It's just different. And we learn to just go through it, And like I mentioned before, there might be days that are good, but we do have a lot of bad days. And that's okay. But no one knows that, right?
Yeah.
You guys see what we let you see. But if you were more involved in taking that initiative and reaching out, you probably would know a little bit more about us.
Yeah.
Like you said, Ives took her almost 20 years to go through some of the stuff to get rid of. I can totally understand that. I'm hitting 4 years and I barely started going through some stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that people don't know. I can't just get rid of my husband's stuff because the moment I get rid of it, I'm accepting it. And I'm not going to accept it. I will never accept that he's not here. Do I have to finally say that, yeah, I know he's not coming back, but I'm not okay with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
I know. This year especially, I feel like it was with you, it was like long enough that it was like, fuck, this is real. Not that it wasn't,
No,
but like,
we're right though. Like, it's crazy because we're hitting 4 years, right, in May. And I swear, me and my oldest, like, we're like, we keep things to ourselves, but like we're like right there with each other, like we get it. And I thought I was coming out of the fog last year. Little did I know I wasn't. And
this year seemed a lot harder for you.
This year is definitely a lot harder. The holidays were a lot harder this year, which I felt was kind of odd, but I guess there's nothing normal. Let's just be honest.
Right.
Nothing normal. So we don't know, right? I
Yeah.
just assumed, which was stupid, but it was hard. And, this year it's like, okay, we're hitting 4 years. And it wasn't until recently I was just like, I remember walking out of my bedroom door and it literally is facing the garage door. And I just looked at it. And at that moment, I just thought to myself, he's really not coming back. And I was like, this is crazy. And literally, not even a week later, Angela got home from school and I was cooking dinner and she walks in the kitchen. She's like, Mom. And I'm like, yeah. And I just saw the look on her face and I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, Daddy's not coming home. And I said, he's not. But he's here. He's living through us. And she's like, I know, but it just hit me. He's not coming home. And I'm like, I felt the same way less than a week ago. And it's just crazy because people think, right after the memorial, after the first year, that it gets easier. They don't realize we're still in the fog.
Yeah.
Things don't feel right. Like I literally was hoping like, okay, maybe he's on a special assignment. Like this isn't going on in my head legit. I was like, okay, they're just going to call me and tell me, just kidding. We had to put you through all of that. But you know what? He's safe. I'm telling you these thoughts and stuff, like you just hold on to any type of like you're just like having this, like, I know he's coming back.
Well, because the pain, when the pain is so great, it's like the body tries to mitigate the pain. And even if it's delusion, I don't want to call it delusion, right?
But it is, it's numbness. Yeah. And that's what I feel like. I feel like I literally was just numb because it was like, I still have my moments. I'm like, I am so numb. I'm still not fully because I feel that the pain is so much. My brain is like preventing that pain to just like fully hit me because it knows I won't be able to.
Yeah.
So it gives me bits and pieces. That day when I'm like, he really isn't coming home. That pain I felt in my heart was just unbearable. And then to hear my daughter say that, I can only imagine what she's going through at 14.
Yeah.
Her dad's not going to be here. Or I have Michaela waking up in the middle of the night crying and saying, why did my daddy leave me? And I have to tell her, he didn't leave you, baby. Daddy was taken. He was taken from us. He would never leave you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sorry, I just go off sometimes.
No, don't be sorry. Like, this is why I wanted you here, and it never hurts for me to hear it again because, it's just these things that, I can't fathom, I can't think about, I can't articulate like on your behalf. Only you can.
Yeah.
Right. And especially I think of my friend, Michaela, how crazy it is that like she doesn't have any conscious memories of him, but she's still crying, because her dad's not here. The loss is still very present.
Yeah.
And then I guess the thing that makes me smile is that at least when she associates the uniform, she's like, okay, daddy's
Mm-hmm.
here, not here, but okay, pieces of daddy are still here.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of brings me back to just that overwhelming responsibility that I feel on behalf of the profession, the people who wear the uniform, and quite frankly, especially the people who wore the same uniform as Dom, you know, and myself included, right? I'm not taking myself out of this equation. The responsibility that we absolutely have to do better. And that's not to say that I want to point fingers. I don't want to blame. I just want to tell you and our members that in whatever capacity that SEBA can do to do better, we want to do better, you know?
And I think that, and I try to be positive about certain things, and I'm not going to lie. It hurts. It hurts a lot when we feel alone, as if, you know, the department forgot or we're just not a priority. It does hurt. But then I have to tell myself, it's not that, you know, it's not that they forgot.
Yeah.
They also are living their lives as well. And they also probably don't even know what to say to us. But what they need to know is talk about him. You can call me up. If you have memories about my husband, call me. I don't care who you are. If I've never met you, call me.
Yeah.
Reach out. Man, share those memories with me and my girls. We would love that. Don't be afraid to talk about my husband, say his name. We talk about him every day. That's what brings joy in our lives, is us hearing about him, us keeping his memory alive. So what everyone can do for us is share that with us.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to talk to us. Don't be afraid to say his name. I want you to say his name.
Yeah.
I want to hear his name. Sergeant Dominic Vaca. People call him Sarge. Call him Vaca. Dom, my favorite. Whatever it is, I don't care. You don't have to walk on eggshells. We want to hear that. It brings a smile to me, to my kids.
And I'm not trying to just bring it back to the 5K or bring it back, because I know there's also the football tournament that he does.
The 5K is important, and that's like...
But I guess that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
even if they don't have your number, or even if it's somebody, like I said, that doesn't know him, like there's small things you can do, right? And it's not just SEBA. Like, I know I keep talking about our 5K because of course I'm near and dear to it, but like there's other things that people do. There's the tournament for Dominic, and there's other things that mean a lot to surviving
Yes.
families. You know, for people to just know, like showing up for that stuff makes a difference.
It means the world. Like, you don't even understand. When we see that we have, how many people do we have in the department now? It's like over $3,000, right?
It's about, yeah, I'd say probably just the department alone is, I think, 2,800.
So when we see...
Sworn and non-sworn, right? Like,
yeah. So like, you know, and we see at the 5K, our first one, and there's under 100 people there. How does that make us feel? Because we're there honoring our fallen. And it's not just my husband. There are multiple fallens that we are honoring. That's how you can like show your support to us. That's how you can give us comfort when we see that you're out there supporting us and you're there for the cause. That means the world to us. You don't need to do much. You just got to show up.
yeah. There's so many things I could talk to you forever, because this is what we do. We just need another beer, and like, was there anything that I didn't ask, or you know, that you think is important for people to know from your perspective, outside of anything really? Like, I'll say this. I know when I introduce you to people, sometimes, like, I've asked you, we've been at the rodeo or whatever, I'll be like, okay, like, do you want me to introduce you to people? And you'll say, yeah, I want them to know who I am, right? And it's not a selfish thing. It's just, you want them to know the living, tangible effect of this profession, right?
Yes.
Like, and get to know you and your girls. But sometimes you can see people don't know what to say, right?
Yeah.
What do you want people to say? Or what would help? Or
Nothing. Just be yourself. Just, hey, you and the girls doing well? How are the girls doing in school? Simple questions. Don't ask me how I'm doing, because I'm gonna tell you a lie. I'm doing great. I'm good.
Right.
Everything is awesome. If I'm going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, don't ask me if I'm doing okay. I'm not going to be okay. But am I living life? Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
I have to for my kids.
Yeah.
You know?
And if they have a memory about Dom, tell you.
Just tell me, please. I might say, can I record this for a minute so I can tell my kids? You know, it's very simple. It doesn't take much.
How are the girls?
They're doing amazing. Angie's she's a freshman, teenager. They both drive me nuts, but they're doing amazing. Angela's a straight A student, 4.0. You know, it was hard. It was hard the first few years, but she pushed through it, and she wants to make her dad proud.
Yeah.
And she's doing everything she possibly can to do so. And I love that about her. She's determined. She has big plans for herself. And I just can't wait until she accomplishes everything in life that she wants. And I know Michaela, with her, oh my God, strong-willed personality, is going to take her far as well.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful thing. The girls are doing great.
Well, I hope you know that I'm always here for you.
Of course.
SEBA is always here for you. If we're not here for you in the way that you want us, kick our ass and tell us what to do.
Oh, I do. I have no problem. I make it very loud and known.
I know.
And
Which
I
is
love
why
you
we
guys.
love you.
I love you guys for taking it and accepting me for me. It means the world. But, you know, I truly appreciate SEBA because you guys listen and you guys act. You don't just hear what I say and be like, okay. You actually do something. And you take what I say and you guys run with it. And I couldn't ask for anything more than that. And I appreciate it. Again, it's just the little things that matter. So thank you guys. And thank you for your guys' love and support that you give us all the time. It's not just at the end of watch on that date. Because that date is hard. But you guys are there for other milestones for us, for the holidays, you know. So birthdays, simple phone call means the world. And I don't just get it from you, I get it from Grant.
Yeah.
And that just speaks volumes of SEBA, that you guys are truly there for us. And we love you guys for it. So, and my girls love you guys, not just me.
Here we go. Now you're giving to me. And this is why I'm the lucky one in this friendship. Well, Val, thank you so much for spending this time with us. And
of course, thank you for having me.
And having your voice and keeping us on our toes.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Love you too.